If you'd told me my quiet little wedding was going to turn into a national headline, helicopters overhead, military medals, the whole town holding its breath, I'd have laughed you out the door. But that's Fair Haven for you, where nothing ever changes until it does, all at once. You know what I mean? The thing is, if you ever want to see what a community is made of, just watch what happens when someone acts from the heart, no strings attached, especially if that kindness doesn't fit the script. Every morning since I could remember, I opened my father's bakery before dawn, the same shop my granddad started, the same one with fogged windows and the smell of cinnamon and yeast that seemed to stitch the town together. I'm not flashy, never have been. I guess you could call me stubborn, or maybe just stuck on the idea that if you believe in something, you do it, no matter what people say. And what I believed in, every day at 5 a.m., was a simple brown bag, sandwich, fruit, bottle of water, a handwritten note, left on the old bench in the alley for the man everyone else ignored. He was always there, this quiet. Older black man with creased hands and tired eyes, jacket faded from what looked like another life. We never talked, not really, just a nod. But it was the kind of nod that said more than any words, the kind that says, I see you. That's all I ever needed back. Of course, it didn't go unnoticed in a town like Fair Haven. The bakers whispered, Amanda rolled her eyes, customers muttered about vagrancy, and my own mother sipped her coffee, trying to hide her judgment under concern. But I kept doing it, even when it meant coming in earlier, slipping out before anyone could say anything. I knew what they thought, too soft-hearted, too naive, always picking up strays that I never cared. Or at least, I told myself I didn't. Then winter came, hard and biting, and I left him my grandmother's old scarf. The next day, he wore it. Just like that, no big show, but a quiet thanks. One day, months in, I found a napkin under that bench, my handwriting on one side, his trembling scrawl on the other. Thank you for seeing me. That was it. That napkin stayed in my wallet, a kind of reminder for those rough days when the gossip in the kitchen stung sharper than it should, or my own doubts grew too loud. Spring arrived, but nothing really changed. Same routine, same brown bag. People still talked. Even my fiancé, Tom, tried to understand but couldn't. Doesn't it bother you that he never speaks? He'd ask. No, I'd say, that's not the point. And it wasn't. I never did it for gratitude or for glory, just so someone in this world could feel seen. Fast forward to my wedding garden venue. Perfect weather, family and friends all done up and ready for tradition. Everything looked as it should. But beneath all that, I was struggling, wondering if I belonged in that picture-perfect scene or if maybe, deep down, I was still that girl sneaking sandwiches out the back door. As the wedding planning reached a fever pitch, I wrote an extra invitation. No address, no last name. Just a note. You are welcome at my wedding. It would mean a great deal to see you there. Grace. I left it under his bag, not expecting anything. The morning of the wedding, as the sun rose, I looked out the window, and there he was. Clean suit, old, but pressed. Boots shined. My grandma's scarf still folded around his neck. My heart jumped. I walked out to him, didn't care about the makeup or the bouquet I left behind. He took my hand, and we walked together, straight past every raised eyebrow, every shocked whisper. People gasped. Some tried to stop us, but I wasn't stopping for anything. That moment, it was like the whole town got turned upside down. Then, just as we reached the aisle, the world seemed to hold its breath, and suddenly, the sky filled with the thunder of helicopters. 3 of them, flying low, followed by a fleet of black SUVs rolling up like something out of a movie. The crowd froze, even the musicians stopped. Uniformed officers stepped out, medals gleaming, faces grave. The general led them, silver-haired, voice ringing out over the stunned silence. Before this ceremony continues, we ask your attention. Today you almost turned your backs on a man who should never have to walk alone again. He told the crowd who this man beside me really was, a decorated colonel, hero in Afghanistan, survivor of a family tragedy, a man who disappeared until someone remembered to care. It hit like a bolt. You could feel the shock ripple through every guest, every neighbor who had whispered about the dangerous bum behind the bakery. The general handed me a medal, but I didn't take it. He pinned it to my dress, and for the first time, my hands shook. Then Tom did something I never expected. He crossed the lawn, offered his hand to the colonel, and said, "Sir, would you walk her down the aisle?" And so we did, in silence deeper than prayer, every step louder than any music. That wasn't the end. One of the officers, a captain, came forward, shared a story about how the colonel saved his life in combat, held up a photo, battered and faded, that proved this was no fairy tale. The crowd, all those judgmental faces, went quiet, some out of shame, some out of awe. And when it was time for vows, the colonel tried to leave, but Tom wouldn't let him. For the first time, I saw not just understanding, but belief in Tom's eyes, like maybe he'd finally seen what I saw. After the ceremony, the colonel didn't stay. He thanked me quietly, said he'd only come to repay a debt he didn't know he owed until someone made him feel visible again. That was it. He left as quietly as he'd arrived. That night, the party felt different. People approached me, some embarrassed, some genuinely moved. Tom and I danced, but I kept thinking about that napkin in my wallet, the one that started it all. Later, as dawn broke, I realized I couldn't go back to just baking bread. So Tom and I started something new, a place called the Quiet Table. Not a shelter, not a soup kitchen, just a space where anyone could sit and eat with dignity. No questions, no conditions. Every month, I get a postcard, no name, just a note from somewhere new. Every breakfast is a salute. Thank you. I pinned each one to the wall. The captain and other veterans started showing up, volunteering, laying lilies on the counter, each flower a quiet tribute. We're still here, still cooking, still listening. Not everyone gets it, not everyone cares. But some do. The world is full of invisible people, but it doesn't have to be. All it takes is one person willing to look, to see, to show up. That's how you change a town, a marriage, maybe even a life. So tell me, what would you do? Would you have the guts to see someone nobody else sees? Drop a comment below. Tell me what you think justice and dignity look like in your world, because I'm listening, and I know I'm not alone.